What's up, you guys? It's Jessica. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the number one thing you should be doing before you begin investing. Before we get started, I do want to say that in no way am I a financial advisor. I'm just here to make educational videos that can hopefully impact at least one person. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that you should be doing before you even think about investing into the stock market, investing into bonds, mutual funds, index funds, investing into a new business venture, investing into real estate, or any other investment you can think about. The very first thing that you should be doing is creating an emergency fund. Yes, an emergency fund. Did you know that 68% of Americans have less than $1,000 in their savings account? Not only is that a really high number, but it's also really sad to see how little Americans are prepared in the event of a real emergency. An emergency fund, also known as money set aside for a rainy day, is basically a savings account that you absolutely do not touch unless it's a real emergency. No, a real emergency is not traveling with your friends and taking a vacation mid-year. An emergency isn't upgrading to the latest iPhone because all your friends have it. An emergency isn't buying that designer bag because you'll die if you don't have it at this very moment. An emergency is something like your car breaking down unexpectedly and you have to buy a new one. An emergency is you getting sick, going to the hospital, and then having to pay medical bills. An emergency is getting laid off from your job unexpectedly and you no longer have a source of income. An emergency fund should be there for you. If any of these things happen, you can go back and you can rely on this rainy day fund. Now, there's no set amount that's right or wrong on how much money you should leave in your emergency fund, but typically a good rule of thumb is to have at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses in your emergency fund. As of today, 3.3 million Americans filed for unemployment this past week. And I can guarantee you that almost more than half of them do not have any money in savings. No one could have predicted this global pandemic. Nobody could have predicted this market crash. But you cannot control any of those things. But what you can control is your finances and how you play offense, and be prepared when things like this happen. Because believe me, they will happen more than once in your lifetime. Guys, just trust me on this one. Trust me from someone who's invested money before and lost it all without having any money in their savings accounts. Before you even think about investing in the stock market, I know it's so tempting right now because every stock is on sale and we're buying them at a good value. But the truth is, you should not invest in the stock market if you're relying on that money. You should only be investing money that you absolutely do not need, money that you can afford to lose, or money that you won't need for another 10 years. I'm going to say it again. Build an emergency fund before you look into investing. Before you even think about investing, build an emergency fund, enough to cover your expenses for 3 to 6 months. I'm very aware that saving money is really difficult for other people, and many people are living paycheck to paycheck and can barely afford their rent as it is. How could they possibly save extra money to put into an emergency fund? I understand that. For those of you that's the case, I challenge you to go look at your statements, and I'm sure there's at least 1, 2, or even 3 things that you can cut back on. For example, if you're subscribed to Netflix, to be honest, you don't really need Netflix. It's more of a want and a form of entertainment. If you cancel your Netflix subscription and take those $12 and put it towards an emergency fund, I promise you, you will build momentum, and it'll be easier for you to start saving. It doesn't matter how fast you build this fund, how slow you go, how little money you're putting into your emergency fund. All that matters is that you're starting and that you're doing. By doing that, you are already ahead of 68% of Americans. And again, guys, I cannot stress this enough. An emergency fund is only for emergencies. Do not touch it at all. Create the fund and then forget about it. Don't even think about it. Pretend it doesn't exist. And a couple suggestions here so that you're not tempted to touch your money is to open the savings account for your emergency fund at a different bank. For example, if you have a checking account with Chase, Bank of America, or Wells Fargo, that's totally fine. But go ahead and open a savings account at a different bank. Like I mentioned in a previous video before, the best way to get the best interest in your savings is to open an online bank account. Online bank accounts typically have a higher interest rate than big banks. Personally, I have my emergency fund with Capital One 360 Savings, and I'm earning a 1.7% return. There are other good banks out there such as HSBC, CIT Bank, Ally Bank. I know Discover has their own savings account as well. Look into those. Just make sure you're not paying any fees. Most of these don't even require a minimum to open the account. Not only will you be earning more interest on your money that's just going to be sitting there anyways, but psychologically, it's going to train you to be a better saver. And the reason being is that if you have your checking account with Chase and you have a savings account with the same bank like Chase, most likely when you see your savings account, you're going to be tempted to transfer money to your checking so you can spend. It's easier for you to go to a Chase bank and withdraw money from your savings account. If you have money at a different bank, an online bank elsewhere, where typically they don't really have any branches locally, you're more likely to save that money and not touch it. And before I go even further, I know a lot of people are skeptical when they hear money and online used in the same sentence. I've had my account with Capital One 360 Savings for a long time now, and my money has always been safe there. Just like any big bank like Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America, all these online banks are FDIC insured up to $250,000. Not only that, but I find their customer service much better and easier to use. They have online mobile banking just like any other big bank institution. Look into these online savings accounts in order for you to earn a bigger bang for your buck. Your money's going to be sitting there anyways. You're only going to touch it for emergencies. Why not earn some interest on it? The worst thing that you can do is not even try to save some money. Even if it's $10, $20 a week, it's a start, and you're going to build momentum, you're going to build confidence, and you're going to psychologically trick yourself that you are a saver, you are not a spender, an unnecessary spender. Just hear me out on this, and please build your emergency fund before you think about investing into the market, before you think about starting a business. Build something that you can fall back on if all of that stuff fails. With that being said, you guys, I am going to make more videos in the near future about investing, about making money online. I am going to go into more depth in my videos on how you can build multiple streams of income. But I don't want you guys to try any of that stuff unless you have an emergency fund first. That's why I made this video first. You owe it to yourself to be prepared when something unexpected like this happens. Please play offense when it comes to your finances. Don't play defense and wait for things to happen to you. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video and got valuable information from it, go ahead and give this video a like, and I'll see you guys in the next video.